If you run a local service business and your phone isn't ringing consistently, the answer probably isn't posting more on Facebook. It probably isn't buying some complicated software either. Usually, one of four things is broken. People can't find your business. They don't trust what they find. It's too difficult to contact you, or the lead gets lost after they reach out. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to identify which part is costing you work and what I would fix first. So most small service businesses survive on referrals, repeat customers, yard signs, vehicle lettering, and people who already know the owner. Now there's nothing wrong with that. Referrals are some of the best leads you can possibly get. The problem is that you can't control when someone decides to recommend you. That creates busy weeks, dead weeks, and the constant feeling that you have no idea where the next job's coming from. You don't need to replace referrals. You need a reliable system working alongside you. So when calls slow down, owners often assume they need more marketing, but more marketing is not a useful diagnosis. A potential customer has to complete a path. They have to find you, trust you, contact you, and receive a response. If that path breaks anywhere, you lose the lead. So sending more people toward a broken path doesn't solve the problem, it just creates more waste. Now, this is the entire system in plain English. First, can the right people find you? Second, do they trust what they see? Third, is it easy to contact you? And fourth, what happens after they do? You don't need 50 different marketing tactics. You need these four parts working together. If one part fails, the customer may never make it to the next one. So the first part is visibility. Can the right people actually find your business? And by the right people, I don't mean, thousands of random people seeing your logo. You're not Coca-Cola. You don't need everyone in America thinking about your pressure washing company. You need people in your service area who are actively looking for the services you provide. That usually means showing up in Google Search and Google Maps, having a properly built Google business profile, and having a website that clearly explains your services and the areas that you serve. If someone searches for your service in your city and can't find you, the rest of your marketing system never gets a chance to work. The second part is trust. Being found does not automatically mean being chosen. Once someone finds your business, they start looking for reasons to trust you. Do you have recent reviews? Can they see real examples of your work? Does your website clearly explain what you do, where you work, and who's behind the business? People want to know who's going to show up to their property. Your potential customer, they're just trying to avoid making a bad decision. They don't want to hire someone who disappears, damages their property, or turns a simple job into a week-long headache. Your website and Google presence should reduce that uncertainty. You don't need the fanciest website in town. You need enough clear evidence to show that your business is legitimate, capable, and safe to contact. The third part is contact. Once someone decides you might be the right company, is the next step obvious? Your phone number should be easy to find. Your estimate from form should be short. Don't have unnecessary fields on there that you don't really need to collect. Some of those fields can be nice to haves, but the shorter the better. And your button should clearly tell people what to do. Don't make somebody dig through your website. Don't make them pinch and zoom on their phone. It's got to be mobile friendly. And don't make them complete a form that feels like a mortgage application. If they want an estimate, give them an obvious way to request one and make it simple. Every unnecessary click, confusing label, or broken mobile menu gives that customer another opportunity to leave and call your competitor. The fourth part is follow-up. A lead is not a book job. It's only someone raising their hand and showing interest. If you miss their call, wait until tomorrow to respond, forget to send the estimate, or never follow up, your marketing may not be the problem. The marketing worked, your process failed after the lead come in. So at minimum, every new lead should be acknowledged quickly, recorded somewhere, and followed up with until they respond or clearly tell you they're no longer interested. You don't need some giant complicated sales system. You need a simple process that stops good opportunities from quietly disappearing. So this is where a lot of business owners waste money. Calls slow down, so they immediately buy Google ads, Facebook ads, Angie leads, or whatever someone managed to pitch them that week. But advertising does not repair weak trust, a confusing website, missed calls, or non-existent follow-up. It sends more people into the system you already have. If the system works, advertising can help you grow. It's great. If it's broken, you're simply paying to lose more opportunities. So before spending money to attract more leads, make sure you're prepared to convert and handle the ones that you currently get. And here's a simple test you can do today. Search for your main service in your city without using your business name. See whether you appear and what a potential customer sees. Next, open your website on your phone. Can you immediately tell what your company does, where it works, and how to request an estimate? And then actually go through the process. Submit the form, call the number. Does the lead get recorded? Does anyone receive an alert? How quickly does someone respond? Of course, if you're a solo operator, you can answer these without calling yourself, obviously. Is there a follow-up process if the customer doesn't answer? Walk through the entire thing like a customer instead of a business owner. The weak point will usually become obvious pretty quick. And once you identify the gaps, fix them in this order. First, make sure the right people can find you. Most important part of the puzzle. Second, give them enough evidence to trust you. Third, make contacting you simple. And fourth, build a reliable process for responding and following up. Then and only then, consider paying to bring more people into the system. So that order may not be as exciting as launching an ad campaign tomorrow, but burning through your money and still wondering why the phone's quiet is considerably less exciting, trust me. You build the foundation first and then use the advertising to increase the number of qualified people entering a system that's actually prepared to handle them, the important part. The real goal is not to constantly do more marketing. It's not more likes, more impressions, or a dashboard full of numbers nobody understands. The goal is to create qualified opportunities consistently enough that you can plan the business instead of panicking every time the phone gets quiet. Now, that doesn't mean every week will look exactly the same. No marketing system can guarantee that. But when visibility, trust, contact, and follow-up all work together, you gain more control over where opportunities come from and what happens when they arrive. So that's what your marketing should eventually give you. More clarity, more control, and fewer surprises. I'm JD Simpkins. I run Tech Touch Marketing, where I help local service businesses build simple systems for generating and handling leads. So if you want practical advice about websites, Google, lead follow-up, and just getting more consistent calls without the usual marketing guru nonsense, subscribe to the channel. In the next video, I'll show you exactly what a local service business website needs to turn more visitors into actual leads. Thank you.